BlackRock adds Wall Street giants to spot Bitcoin ETF Prospectus. We only have 9 more days and 17 hours to the Bitcoin halving. And we're also going to analyze the long short-term holder supply ratio and figure out how this can affect us in the long term. This and much more we will look at today. Welcome, my free thinking rebels, to another episode of Decrypting Crypto. We are starting off the week with a lot of valuable information for you. So if you're joining us for the first time, take a moment and smash that subscribe button and help us to get this information out to your friends, your family, and anybody that you think needs to know what is happening in the crypto space. Now, let's jump into the first article I have for you today, which is an article by the News Crypto. So we have BlackRock adds Wall Street giant to spot Bitcoin ETF Prospectus. What does this mean, my friends? On April the 5th, prominent global asset manager BlackRock added 5 major Wall Street companies as additional permitted participants to its exchange-traded funds prospectus. Basically, they've added some big names to their list of people who can basically buy the ETF. Now, an amended to BlackRock's S1 registration statement with the US SEC states that new members include ABN, AMRO, Citadel Securities, Citigroup Global Markets, Goldman Sachs, and UBS Securities. Just, some small people, right? Nobody to worry about. Now, Virtue Americas, Mercury Capital, Jane Street Capital, and JP Morgan Securities are among the previously permitted participants in the ETF. Now, let's discuss the cash mechanism and redemption structure. An essential aspect of the BTC ETF operating mechanism is the ability for authorized participants to generate and redeem ETF shares. This is really important, right? Now, the new additions demonstrate that major corporations are now interested in getting in on the action and are comfortable with being publicly linked to this. So we have now, obviously we know the corporations, they want a piece of the Bitcoin pie that is about to explode, right? So they want to get their shares. They want to be able to access this. The ETFs is the only way that they can do this. So we are seeing, again, even more bullishness. And we can really tell right now what is going to be happening, right? We have 9 more days to the halving of Bitcoin. We have something very interesting happening in the charts. Let's jump over and take a look at that in a second. Now, let's take a quick market overview. We can see we have started the week. Bitcoin is up 2.34 in the last 24 hours, up 4.5 in the last 7 days. Ethereum's up 7.4 in the last 24 hours. BNB is up 1%. XRP is up 3.5%. Our fair ingredient index starting to increase once again. We're almost back into the extreme green zone. And like I said, 9 days, 17 hours to the halving. Estimated time, April 18th. Mark that in your calendar, my friends. The 18th of this month. The supply of Bitcoin will be cut in half. If you don't know what that means, we are currently seeing 900 Bitcoin being mined every single day. That will go down to 415 come the halving event. Something interesting to take a look at as well, the spot Bitcoin ETF in and outflow. During the last 2 weeks, we've kind of had a halt in the majority of the inflow. Last week was actually a very, very low inflow week. We started to pick up a little bit on Friday. Let's see if that has any effect and change on the price action during this week. We're going to have to wait and see what happens today and where the Bitcoin ETFs open today with regards to their inflows. Now, as we analyzed last week, one of the scenarios that we painted has actually played out, which was what I was saying. We were bouncing between momentum, support, and resistance. And this pendant that we had been forming, we have seen to have gotten a very clean breakout from it. Now, this is on the 4-hourly candle, my friends. Potentially, we can definitely see some price action happening in here. If this turns into a bull flag, we could potentially break this last high, which is 73,650. So what I am looking for right now is a clean break from this area that can then potentially be the signal that we will be heading to this next zone, which is the golden ratio up there, sitting around at the $84,000 range. From where we currently are, this would be a 18% move to the upside. And again, look, we don't know exactly how this is going to play out. We only have a couple more weeks till the halving. So we know this is coming. Whether it takes 2 weeks or 2 months, it's all going to be dependent on what happens in the market. But at this stage, I will wait potentially for a test of this resistance at support. As support, this will be a clear indication that we potentially will not be revisiting these areas, right? Again, we're going to have to wait and see what happens, but these are the two major zones to look out for. $70,000 as support. If we break below it again, then potentially we come back within this pattern and we can potentially come back down to this support. Or we break that $74,000 mark and start moving up from here. Now, before we continue moving on, my friends, I'm going to just drop a quick message from our sponsors. Hope you enjoy it. As the world sinks deeper into debt, your hard-earned money loses value daily. The solution: safeguard your wealth with smart, diversified, and decentralized income strategies. Breakout Solutions is on a mission to take back personal freedom, individual rights, and financial sovereignty. As the era of CBDCs, digital IDs, and social credit system approaches, it's crucial to act now to safeguard your financial future. Introducing the Future of Money, your guide to what's happening and what is coming. Join our 90-minute session to equip yourself, your loved ones, and your business against a system bent on control. Your time is precious. Don't waste it anymore. Use the link below, join our next virtual event, and access my exclusive bonuses. My friends, use all the links in the description if you want to get access to our content, access to a private 45-minute coaching call so we can help figure out what do you need to achieve your financial freedom. Love to see you use that link below. Now, we're going to move on with an interview by Skybridge Capital founder Anthony Scaramucci on CNBC. Now, we really could see, like, the last month, the uptick of mainstream media's bullishness on Bitcoin has just been increasing and increasing and increasing. And this really shows, right, how the market really works. This is when mainstream media wants you to start buying Bitcoin. And for a very good reason, because they're going to start selling. Now, before we dive into this video, I'm going to show you this chart, what kind of consolidates that idea of smart money beginning to sell when they are, and they need somebody to sell it to, which is you. You are going to be buying smart money, and you're going to be pushing the price of Bitcoin up even more. So let's take a look at this chart, right? This is the, give me 1 second. It's not showing right now. Hold on. All right, here we go. So let's take a look at this chart very clearly. So this is the Bitcoin long short-term holder supply ratio. So we have the price of Bitcoin here. And then this shows when smart money or long-term holder supply decreases and long-term holder and short-term holder increases. So when the prices go, when this chart is going down, this means long-term holders are selling their Bitcoin into the hands of short-term holders, right? So we can clearly see a correlation of when the long-term holders decreases, price of Bitcoin explodes, and we get the full extent of the bull market, which pretty much means smart money is selling, right? Dumb money is buying, pushing the price up, and they're going to continue selling until the peak of the market. That's when dumb money starts selling their coins. At the peak at the market after we crash, we'll start to see that shift. It happened here in 2014. We can see it very clearly here in 2017, right? Smart money started selling long before the bull run began, and it increased all the way to the top. 2021, we have the same thing happening. And look at this right now. We have this happening right now, where long-term holders are now starting to sell their Bitcoin. What will this mean for the price action? Well, we can see historically that means massive price increase. All right, I leave that with you guys, analyze that, think about it. But I know what's coming. I know what's coming, my friends, and I hope you are all ready for it as well. Now, let's take a look at this interview.
Bitcoin's back. Why? What are all the reasons you think? Well, I mean, I think the ETF was a big reason. I think the regulatory hurdle where the United States government is now allowing a QSIP to be attached to Bitcoin is a big reason. And I think Wall Street as well as anybody. When Wall Street gets a product like this, it's like a selling machine, and it's generating lots of demand for the product. And I think we're surprised that there's over $10 billion in the first quarter of new flows for something like Bitcoin.
Why? Why are you surprised?
Well, it took a year for GLD, the gold ETF, to get to $10 billion. And so this did it in 25% of the time. And, not to bore everybody, but Bitcoin's, the network spits out about 900 coins a day. That's going to get cut in half probably April 20th or so. And so you're going down to 450 coins, and you probably have 2,000 to 3,000 coins of base demand at a time when the supply is going to get cut. So they said earlier that Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin, the ETF was priced in. They're now saying that the halving is priced in. I don't believe that either. I think Bitcoin has a lot more to go here.
Do you have in your mind a target level as people still try and throw those out, which you think is reasonable?
So I've been consistent with this, and I basically say that the halving's going to come on or about April 20th. Typically what's happened over the 18 months since the halving, you get a 4x move in Bitcoin. Let's be a little bit more conservative than that. I've been saying that it's about $170,000 for this cycle. But Bitcoin is a cyclical product, in my opinion. Waves of people come into it, the demand is there, and then it goes through, pulls and drags, if you will. So I think it gets to 170,000 by the end of the cycle. We also like Solana, fully disclosed. We have smaller positions like Algorand and smaller positions like Avalanche. We're looking at some other tokens, but Bitcoin's the big kahuna. The US dollar's lost about 22% of its value since January of 2020. Bitcoin's gone up 8 to 1. Now you can say, okay, well, Anthony, you're dot plotting, you're picking a high dot for Bitcoin. Maybe Bitcoin drops 50% due to its volatility. But I think the arc of it is an inflation hedge. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a short-term inflation hedge, but if you own Bitcoin, anybody that's owned Bitcoin in a rolling 4-year period of time, they've actually done well, Scott. They've never lost money if they're able to hold on to it for periods like that.
Look, super bullish news. And again, look, I don't want to dissect this too much and get into too much of it, but it's interesting. I really want you guys to start paying attention to these news articles. He mentions Solana, Algorand, coins that have already gone up so much in value. I want you to start thinking like the herd does. When the herd sees this on mainstream, what are they going to do? They're going to go and buy Solana and Algorand. They're going to go and buy Bitcoin, right? The price is already up. I think Solana is up 8 or 9x from the bottom, right? So what is going to happen when the masses go and buy it now? It's going to push the price up even more. So definitely if you got into Solana earlier, then great, you're going to make some money. But if you have not and you're the herd jumping in right now, you're basically pumping up the bags for exit liquidity to happen. And that is all that there is. So please, my friends, again, sending you all lots of energy for this new week. Stay focused, stay entertained, stay engaged, and I hope to see you in the next video. Stefan out.